So, syempre, ah, meron pa tayong isang topic for today. So, Miss Jo,
Yes. So, kung kanina ang na-discuss ay patungkol sa pag-aalaga ng prawns, ngayon naman dadako tayo sa safe shrimp production o ang PNS Code of Good Aquaculture Practices on Hatchery for Shrimp. Para i-discuss sa atin ang mga gawain na nakapaloob dito, narito si Maria Abigail Albaladejo, Chief ng Fisheries Planning and Economics Division mula sa Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources. So, siya din po ang focal person for National Shrimp Production Program ng SAR. Siya ay nagtapos ng Bachelor of Science degree, major in Inland Fisheries sa UP Diliman at may Master's degree in Fisheries Technology sa Iloilo State College of Fisheries. So, good morning po, Miss Abby.
morning Ma'am Abigail.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning po.
Morning. Can you hear me na? Can you hear me?
Yes po.
Ah,
Yes po, ma'am. Clear po.
So allow me to share my slides. Bakit wala dito sa choose to share? Windows. Pindutin siguro muna yung yung PowerPoint. Ayan. Full screen.
Ayan.
Right?
Ayan.
Yes, can you see my slide na? Okay.
Yes po.
So,
Okay.
Yes po,
first,
ma'am.
thank you so much for allowing us to share our know-how on the situation of the Philippine shrimp industry, as well as the good aquaculture practices on shrimp hatchery for shrimp. So for the first part, I will be on the situation of our shrimp industry. I will first be talking about the world shrimp production, then the volume of production, aquaculture production, as well as the number of our registered and accredited hatcheries, and also grow out farms. So for the world shrimp production, this only includes Monodon and Vaname. So for 2018, the Philippines ranks 10th shrimp producer in the world. And this is based on our PSA data. So our total production for both aquaculture and inland municipal fish is 76,710. For aquaculture, we have an average of 63,323 the average for aquaculture for shrimp and prawn. So, and for the inland municipal shrimp and prawns, we have 13,386 metric tons. So these are the production per region. So our top one producer for our shrimps is the Central Luzon, Region 3 with 26,243, followed by Northern Mindanao, which is Region 10 at 13,618 metric tons. And then the third one is our Soxargen, which is Region 12 at 5,320, followed by Central Visayas. This is the Cebu area and Bohol, and also Negros, which is Region 7. And the fifth one is our producer at Cagayan Valley, Region 2. Oops, sorry. So this is our production for the last 10 years from 2010 to 2020. And our growth rate right now at 2020 is -3. So in 2014, our production decreased. This is due to the acute hepatopancreatic necrosis disease, or APEN. And in 2018, our production also decreased because at negative 5%. This is because of the mixed infection of EHP, or the enterocytosome hepatopenarian, with white spot syndrome virus, as well as acute hepatopancreatic necrosis disease. So right now, the decrease in 3% growth rate is due to the delay of the importation of our broodstock last year. This is due to the transportation lockdown because of the pandemic. Alam mo, nakikita yun. Dapat mag-switch slide tayo. Okay. Okay, now these are the registered and accredited hatcheries in the Philippines. These are BFAR accredited. For the broodstock facility for Monodon, it's 47. For the P. Vaname broodstock facility, it's 29, with a total of 76 broodstock facilities. And for the larval rearing, for Monodon, it's 1. And for Vaname, we have 14, with a total of 15 larval rearing hatcheries accredited and registered with BFAR. So we have actually a total of 91 registered and accredited hatcheries. For freshwater prawn, or the Macrobrachium rosenbergi, we have one hatchery at Nifty DC, which is at Tagupan, and another one at Muñoz. So it's actually 2 for BFAR, and one private hatchery owned by a private sector at Isabela at Region 2. So these are the registered and accredited grow-out shrimps and prawn in the Philippines. So for Monodon, this is for Monodon and Vaname. So for Monodon, it's 771, and for Vaname is 950. So right now, we have a total of 1,721. And as you notice, our top registered region is Region 4B. And this is also where we are locating. Right now, we have an ongoing establishment of hatchery of P. Peneos Vaname, and with a goal of establishing a broodstock facility at Bungabong, Mindoro Oriental. Because the LGU donated 1 hectare, for this 1 hectare area for the broodstock facility, and this area has no hatchery. They still buy their hatchery at other regions, and this is an island and the water is clean. And this is where most of the registered, as I have mentioned, and accredited farms are located. Thank you. So that ends my part 1. So the second part of my presentation is regarding the code of practices on hatcheries for shrimp. So for the outline, I will be discussing the scope and then hatchery location, layout and design, broodstock management, biosecurity, water management, feeding management, shrimp health management, chemical and biological substances, use, effluent management, collection and harvest, packing, hatchery and nursery sanitation, energy and fuel, labor and welfare, social and environmental responsibilities, as well as recording. For the scope, this will include all the stages. This will take into account all the aspects of aquaculture production, which includes food safety, animal health and welfare, environmental integrity, and socio-economic responsibility. The lecture is based on the PNS GAqP on hatchery for shrimp as with BOPS as the secretariat, and the number is 280-2019. It was actually approved in 2019 with ICS 65.150. So all stages, this will include all stages of farm hatchery practices in hatcheries and nurseries. So including harvesting, collecting, packaging, and handling of eggs, larvae, and PL to produce good quality PL for farming. So for the hatchery location, it is important that the location is pollution-free, and very, very minimal risk in contamination, and it should be compliant to environmental regulation. And of course, it is also important that the owners have proof of legal rights, and the farm should be registered with the competent authority, and it should be accessible. So, as much as possible, it is important that there are available infrastructures like road, energy, if possible, if there are trail and airport. So for the design, so it is important that we have a separate entrance and exit. Water supply pipe should extend from the shoreline to very clean waters. Therefore, the pipe should be longer, and it must have a reservoir as much as possible. First reservoir, second reservoir, which are covered with filters. The first reservoir can be an open tank, and the third reservoir is already inside or beside the hatchery. So it should also have proper filtration. There should be UV, cartridge filters, sand filters, netting materials, speed filters, among others. And it is also important. No, this is an effluent tank. It should have an effluent tank where the microorganisms can settle and be treated prior to release. As much as possible, it should have at least 3 levels. With the last level, there should be live fishes. So these are some pictures that were taken in some of the hatcheries that we visited. So we have to make sure that we isolate the different sections of the hatchery, the maturation and the spawning, as well as the larval rearing. Some more pictures of the incoming water supply with pipes. These are the inlet pipes, and also some if they lack water, seawater, they haul water. So they have water tank hauling trucks. And below is the raw seawater. This is the first water reservoir. And this is the second water reservoir. It is covered already. And we can see the sand filters, the UV, the charcoal filter. There are also glass wool filters with 1 and 5 micron. And they also do chlorination in the second reservoir. For the third reservoir, it is covered because to avoid any evaporation of nutrients. And this is already beside the hatchery where it will be used. So for the broodstock management, we identify the source. We make sure that we know the source of the broodstock, and it should be a certified and a recognized broodstock facility. And we do quarantine of broodstock upon arrival. It will go straight to the hatchery and will be quarantined. And we also have, they should also show us that we do broodstock screening from diseases. They submit samples to our laboratories and send the brood directly to the hatchery and wait for us to issue the health certificate prior to breeding or spawning. And the health certificate is being issued by the competent authority if we are going to move the broodstock from one region to another. And we make sure that the tanks are appropriate for they have appropriate stocking density. So for the biosecurity, we make sure that the operations manual is available and accessible to all personnel so that when they take a rest, say during after lunchtime, they can read the manual anytime. And we should all make sure that uh, prior to operations, we should disinfect the facilities, and also after operation with chlorine, and we should have longer dry up periods. So for the biosecurity, we also have to prevent the entry of animals aside uh, examples. These are domestic animals, dogs, chicken, birds, cats, among others, especially the seawater birds. These are really they are carriers. So they must also have life support system like aerator, pumps, and water system. We also have in our entrances, we have to put signages to make sure na hindi maliligaw ang mga tao. May screen may transparent plastic liners, may pest control, shoe rack, foot bath, merong hand washing station, meron ding car tire bath. So for the biofilters inside the facility, we can use fireballs or we can use speed filters, membrane filters, and protein skimmers. So we can also have the ozone, and which is a contact disinfection. So for the water management, we should conform with the existing standards of standards. It should be a suitable quality. Iba-iba kasi sa Monodon, iba din sa Banamay. And then yung screen, dapat yung inlet natin is well screened. And we should do monitoring, daily monitoring or regular checking of the basic quality, water quality parameters, which includes the pH, temperature, DO, nitrite, ammonia, turbidity, salinity, alkalinity, calcium, magnesium. And dissolved oxygen is very important. It should be monitored at least twice a day. So we should also have a periodic examination of our water quality for hazardous substance. And we should make sure that we record all readings in a logbook. So these are some examples of aeration system with biofloc, the one in brown. For the feeding, for the feed management, we should have a storage area which is clean, ventilated, and closed. And our live feeds, as much as possible, we do not recommend any use of live feed. And just in case we do, we should make sure that we wash them very, very well. But it's best that we use frozen feeds. So we should also use approved and registered commercial feeds, and we provide efficient feeding management. Like we should know the frequency, schedule, appropriate quantity, amount, and who also is doing the feeding. So it should be a first in, first out policy, and we should all feed should be properly labeled with ingredients, and we should check the expiration date from time to time. For our shrimp health management, we should also have a regular calendar or schedule of our monitoring of larvae and PL. So we recommend PL3 on before harvest. This is or as early as you can to prevent further expenses on labor as well as energy and maybe feeds. So we should also have files of our health certificates and lab results in case we do check for documentation. And in case of disease occurrences, we should destroy the shrimps as soon as immediately. And we can put chlorine at 30 to 60 ppt, and we should release the water within a week after the application. We disinfect all culture tanks, pipes, aerators, and equipment, and you should have long dry up period. So the animals should be burned or buried far from the hatchery site. So as we all know, before we have in the Philippines, we have we have six diseases right now. We have the white spot syndrome virus, the EHP or the enterocytosome hepatopeneid, the acute hepatopancreatic necrosis disease or the APEN, the IHHNV or the infectious hematopoietic hepatopancreatic necrosis disease. We also have the luminous bacteria or the LUMBAC, as well as the mononucleovirus. Other diseases that BIFAR laboratories that monitor are the PSV or the Torres syndrome virus, the IMNV or the infectious myonecrosis virus, the PVNV or the Pneumococcal virus, the decapode iridescent virus or the DIV, as well as the NHPV or the necrotizing hepatopancreatic bacteria. So for the chemicals and substances, all must be properly stored, used, and documented and disposed of properly when expired, as well as the container should be properly disposed. We should maintain it in a cool and dry place. We should separate the accelerants and the combustibles. retain all labels. We make sure that all chemicals have labels and we retain all labels. Let's put them in a place where we can see them and properly filed. So we also have to rotate our inventory, the first in, first out policy, as well as we make sure that we monitor the expiration dates. And it should also be administered by a competent authority or a technician who knows well when it comes to the chemicals and biological substances. For the effluent, so the quality of discharged water shall be held in the um, effluent treatment tank. So we recommend that it should have at least 3 levels. And on the third level, we can put fishes to make sure that the water is already clean and fishes can survive. For the collection and harvest, we should manage and handle our larvae as well as our brood stock hygienically. So we use gloves and we have to plan our harvest. We must have a good calendar on the regarding considering the time, the harvest of eggs, larvae, PL to prevent long exposures. And workers should use PPE because we already have the new normal. For our packaging, we pack appropriately according to sizes. We do not mix. They should not be mixed. So eggs and larvae and PL as well as fruit stock should be separated from each other. We use oxygenated polyethylene plastic bags or styrofoam. And we do not mix any life stages in one bag. So we should also make sure that we refill oxygen for long transport. We also secure local transport permit or LTP and health certificate from the competent authority. So for our hatchery and our sanitation, nursery sanitation, we should make sure that we properly dispose the garbage and veterinary drugs and hazardous substances. We should put them in different containers with specific types to make sure that we do not mix those that are biodegradable and non-biodegradable, as well as those that are infectious and non-infectious. We must keep our hatcheries and nursery floors clean and dry. Workers should change from street clothes to working clothes. Working clothes, like example, they should wear also boots and they change their clothes. And each tank must be provided with scoops, nets, measuring cups separately. So for the energy and fuel, proper and secured storage of fuel and lubricant. They should be separated from any other chemicals or especially from the feeds. So machines should all be in good conditions. We should test them with for example, the blower, the aerators, the genset, as well as the pumps, and we make sure that the person who will be handling the machine is a very good technician. Avoid laborers or maybe on-the-job trainees to handle the machines because they might hurt themselves. And we discard the containers properly, and there should be safe electrical system on the farm. So dapat merong safety switch and operating manual of every machine should always be accessible and near the machine, where the machine is. For the labor and welfare, it should be a proactive anti-child labor policy. Okay, and no discrimination of workers. There should be fair treatment for gender, religion, no matter what your age is, your education, your race, your culture, among others. And there should be equality in salary and work, even if you're a girl or a boy. So there should be equality. And there should be appropriate welfare for workers should be provided, like time shifting, day off, vacation, clean resting place, proper food, among others. We should also observe the new normal health protocol by wearing our face mask. And workers should be trained on safety operations to avoid accidents to avoid any accident. Training, they should also be trained on technological advances. So for the social environmental responsibilities, our farm should not obstruct access to local community. We should have a friendly there should be a friendly environment between workers and owners, and we should, as much as possible, we should source our workers from nearby communities, and the owners must participate in hatchery activities and nursery organizations or socialization with proper health protocol. So for our record keeping, information shall be recorded. So this includes broodstock origin and management protocol, hatchery and nursery management protocol, estimated production volume and quantity distributed to farms, as well as we should also have a record of our potential clients, and disease history of the hatchery and the nursery facilities and broodstock facility, preventive measures against and control of disease outbreak, use of veterinary drugs, chemicals, hazardous substances, even the dosage, when it was applied, among others, the date, probiotic and other inputs, employment and wage payment, health certificates, local transport permit, and laboratory results. So record and keep other necessary information and relevant data for further inspection, and of course, for our historical data, which is very important. So thank you so much, and these are the staff of the Shrimp Production National Shrimp Production Program. We have 2 veterinarians, and we have a fishery graduate, and we also have our artist and our writer and our chemist. Thank you so much.
Yan. Thank you po, Miss Abby.
Thank you.
So, so ngayon po mag-entertain na po kami ng questions from our viewers po sa ating FB.
Ayan po, no? So, first of all, marami pong nagtanong kanina, Miss Abby, no, about doon sa mga hatchery area po natin. Kanya ng network ni Ma'am Abby, meron tayong almost 91 po, tama, for shrimp?
Sorry, I
91 po.
cannot.
Hello po?
Ano ka? Yes, it's 91 right now. Regarding the hatcheries, we have 91 registered and accredited hatcheries nationwide with 76. For the hatcheries, we have 76, and for the larval rearing, we have 15.
Okay. Kasi po kanina maraming nagtatanong talaga about regarding paano ba mag-start po ng business ng shrimp naman po. Madali lang po ba mag-start mag-business ng shrimp sa buo ng mga mini farms for shrimp po?
For farms, we can start at polyculture. Pwede natin itong isama sa milkfish at saka sa and shrimp. Kasi milkfish and shrimp can go together in one pan. Kasi yung milkfish, lumalangoy siya, nasa water column siya, tapos yung shrimp natin nasa bottom. And they will not compete with the food kasi ang milkfish, they eat more yung mga phytoplanktons. While our monodon, meron tayong pwede natin bigyan siya ng carnivore siya. And for the feeds naman, yung kung commercial feeds, floaters ang feeds ng milkfish, at ang shrimp naman ay yung mga sinkers. So hindi sila pwede silang hindi magsabay. Ngayon, kung gusto nyo na, so extensive muna polyculture, kasi kung mag-intensive tayo, it will require a lot of capital. Although, even if you have a lot of capital and you already know scientifically how to produce it, you will have a lot of profit. So you can meet with, we have an organization known as Field Shrimp, tsaka yung may mga stakeholders association. They can they can help you, they can bring you to their farms para makita ninyo kung paano to ginagawa, paano nagpo-culture, para you can have an idea, because it's really difficult to go into a business that you have very little technical know-how. So it's important first that you study very well para ma-achieve natin ang profit na hinahanap natin.
Ayan. So, Ma'am Abby, from Miss Anna po, sa ating one of the viewers, no, question lang po niya. May mga binibigay din po ba na free resources ang BFAR para po sa pag-start
Ano
ng
yun?
hatchery for shrimp? Sorry po. Hello?
For the free resources, we do have only a hatchery at Camarines Norte, Mercedes in Region 5. So, pwede mo doon maka-avail ng fry. Isa pa lang kasi siya, pero we are established one at Mindoro. So, unfortunately, this is a very expensive venture. So, hindi po kami nagbibigay ng mga ibang feeds. Pero, if you are a good grower, mayroong mga award kami na binibigay. Kunyari, yung mga aerator, ganyan. Depende po sa dami ng production.
Ma'am, compare
But
po sa...
we definitely give trainings for free, technical assistance for free. You can go to the nearest BFAR office in your area. And we have a lot
Ayun po,
of
Miss Anna.
mga materials, published documents na gini-give out for free.
Okay. Miss Jo, may ask po ata si Miss J.Ann.
Ayan. So sabi po ni Ms. J.Ann Legaspi, yung details po ba ng accredited or registered hatcheries ay makikita sa BFAR website?
Yes, yung listahan ng accredited and registered hatcheries as well as grow out is being updated monthly sa BFAR website. Pupunta lang kayo dun sa services, nandoon. So kung gusto niyo ng bagong broodstock, makikita rin ninyo kung bagong dating ang mga broodstock nila from mga broodstock facilities abroad. So the newer or new arrivals will perform better at mas maraming PLs ang mapoproduce nila and healthy PLs. So monthly yon na pinapublish namin kasi yung iba na expire, yung iba may bagong applicants na na-accredit, yung iba nagre-renew. So umiiba rin yung numbers natin.
Ayan.
Thank you.
Miss Jo, may question ka pa ba kay Ma'am Abby? Gusto mo ba
Naalala ko,
itanong din natin sa kay Ma'am Abby? Ano pa?
ayun, kasi Miss Abby, tinanong po namin kanina si Doc Eguia. So, paano po ba natin differentiate ang shrimp and prawn? So, meron po bang pagkakaiba sa lasa or sa itsura? Ayun.
Sa itsura, iba talaga. Kasi, as mentioned earlier ni Ma'am Weng, yung macrobrachium, 60% head, maliit yung body niya. Tapos may sphincter siya. Yung na blue, color blue. Yung monodon, iba rin siya sa Vaname. Yung Vaname kasi, white siya. I mean, kaya tinatawag siyang Pacific White Shrimp. So, iba rin yun sa putian natin. Kasi yung itsura ng Vaname, parang hinalo siya na swahe at putian. Yung putian ng swahe are our local. Yung swahe nilagay sa pansit. Yung putian medyo malaki-laki siya. So, pinaghalo siya, meron siyang mga dot-dot. Mukha siyang putian na swahe na hinalo. Kaya ang local name ng Vaname is Swati. Ngayon yung monodon, siya yung medyo greenish, ganyan, greenish na may konting blue, pero wag maging blue talaga kasi may problema yun sa nutrition. Depende kasi din sa color ng pan bottom, ginagaya niya yung pan bottom na color. So kung maraming lumot, magiging greenish siya. Kung maraming lupa na maitim, medyo magiging dark siya sa color. So yun ang difference nila when live. Pag sa ano naman, pag naluto na sila, mapula talaga yung mono doon. Yung Vaname may pagka-pinkish. So, yung macrobrachium, nasa gitna. Yun. So, yun.
Thank you po.
Pero
Sa
yung
akin,
macrobrachium, yung
opo.
macrobrachium, pwede natin siyang ilagay sa aquarium. Lumalaki talaga siya. Tsaka sa aquaponics.
Ayan. So, naalala ko lang po kanina, may tanong po kasi si Miss J. Ann Legaspi. So, sabi niya po kanina, are there feeds usually used in shrimp production that we should be conscious of in terms of contaminants? Ayan po.
Ay, oo. Yung sa feeds naman, make sure na wala siyang aflatoxin kasi hindi yon maganda para sa shrimp. Dapat titingnan natin yung manufacturing date, titingnan natin yung label kung bago siya, at saka titingnan natin yung expiration date. So, mga molds, mga bacteria, syempre, pag hindi maganda yung storage natin, pag hindi well ventilated, dapat nakaangat siya sa pallet, tapos hindi siya nakadikit sa wall, yung mga feeds natin para mahangin, para ma-avoid natin na maging moist yon. Kasi once na maging moist yon, magkakaroon na siya ng mga contaminants.
Ayan. Thank you po, Miss Abby.
Thank you din.
Miss Abby, yes po, we could give you also a chance din po kung meron po ba tayong mga trainings po sa before na ginagawa ngayon na gusto nyo silang i-invite yung ating mga viewers.
Okay, so usually we join webinars. On the 27th, we will have a webinar, and this is sponsored by, we were invited by Solution to report the interventions being done by BIFAR sa industry. And then we will also be joining the webinar by PRC and Nifty TC, and this will be on the 29th, tama ba? Ay, 27th. We will be discussing, it will be discussed there yung mga recent technologies on the biosecure culture of P. Vaname. So P. Vaname lang siya. So, and we are planning also the conduct of our virtual Shrimp Congress this year kasi dapat yon. Last year nagkaroon ng pandemic, so medyo hindi kami masyadong na-involved sa planning nung Shrimp Congress. So it's gonna be the 14th Shrimp Congress, and this time it's going to be virtual. Kaya maraming challenges like what's happening now, yung mga share, ganyan. Thank you. So, and we can also inquire from the nearest BIFA regional office or dito sa central office dun sa mga trainings. Mostly nasa virtual na ang trainings natin. Very little ang mga hands-on trainings ngayon. Thank you.
Thank you po. So, wag natin po kalimutang i-check ang FB page ng BIFAR or ang kanilang website para po dun sa mga trainings na inyanda nila. So, yan.
Incidentally, meron
Ayan,
pala
so,
kami tawag na Keep Online. So, iumpisahan namin ulit ito. These are the basics of shrimp culture. And then, meron din kaming tinatawag na webinar din na Shrimp It Up. Ito yung sa mga business na. So, hopefully, we will be able to start again. Kasi last year, nagkaroon kami ng around 3 episodes. So, umpisa na po namin ulit yung Keep Online and Shrimp It Up very soon. Thank you.
ayan guys, so from before na po yun sa mga interested na magkaroon ng business or pumasok sa shrimp industry. So marami talaga tayong matututunan po from before. So kindly check na lang po ang before website, and meron din po silang FB page. Or sabi nga ni ma'am, you could go to sa mga regional offices ng before. Ayan. So for us naman, from the Bureau of Agriculture and Fisheries Standards, welcome niyo pong tingnan ang aming PNS on Hatchery of Shrimp. So, punta lang po kayo sa aming website, pwede nyo siyang i-view or i-download po. So, if you have any question po dun po sa mga kapanood nito on a later date, kasi diba, this is naman po yung advantage ng online eh. Pwede pa nilang panoorin sa susunod na araw or pwedeng balik-balikan. No? So if you have any question, message nyo lang po kami sa aming Facebook page and baka masagot po namin ang ating mga question. No? And Miss Jo, may questions po ba tayo or okay na po tayo with Ma'am Abby?
Okay na po ata tayo. Wala na pong mga katanungan sa ating comment section. So, thank you po, Miss Abby. Sa
Ayan. So,
susunod po ulit.
thank you po for your time po. Sa susunod po ulit.
Maraming webinars ko po. Thank you po.
Ayan.
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 So, tapos na ang ating last topic. Pero ngayon po, aanyayahan ko po ulit si Brooke para i-check niya po kung may mga natutunan ba ang ating mga tagapakinig. So, Miss Brooke?
Ayan. Hello po. Ayan. Ako po yung nagbabalik for our last Menti quiz for this day. Tackling the topic po of Miss Abigail Albaladejo of before on Code of Good Aquaculture Practice on Hatchery for Shrimp. So, kindly open po another tab or browser sa inyong mga devices and kindly proceed po sa www.menti.com and kindly enter the code po 97609899. So meron po tayo uling tatlong tanong with 25 seconds each to answer. And the faster you answer, the higher the points you get. So, yan po. Ito po ang ating code. Menti.com. Ang code po natin ay 97609899. Ayan. So, bago po tayo mag-proceed, kindly edit your name po with the following format uli. Ang inyong full name and the name of your organization or sector po kung saan po kayo nakakasama. So far, so good. So, ready na po ba? So, sa mga bago pa lang po, we are having a short Menti quiz break po about the topic discussed sa GAqP on hatchery for shrimp discussed by Miss Abigail. So, ito po ang ating code 97609899. Ang ating platform pa rin po ay menti.com. So, sa mga bago pa lang po, so mag-wait lang po tayo ng players. So far, we have 12. We have 12. So, sa mga gusto kong sumali, kindly enter the code po 97609899 sa menti.com and wag po natin kalimutan ilagay ang ating name and the organization we belong to po. So far, we have 15. So, I'm proceeding po for the first question. 25 seconds lang po to answer, so kindly tune in po. In biosecurity, which of the following is or are not a life support system? Is it aerator, water system, pumps, or none of the above? In biosecurity, ano po dito ang hindi nabanggit na kasama sa life support system? Or example po. So, is it aerator, water system, pumps, or none of the above? So, we have time's up. So, answers in po. So, the correct answer is none of the above po. So, lahat po ng nabanggit, ang aerator, water system, and pumps ay kabilang po sa life support system. So, meron po tayong 6 na kalahok na nakatama. So, for our leaderboard, tingnan po natin kung sino po ang mga nakakuha ng sagot. So, we have Nerissa Mata as our fastest, gaining 943 points, followed by Jesmar Roque and JVP. So, habol lang po tayo. We still have 2 questions left. So, for our second question, Ang ikalawang katanungan ay true or false, in case of disease occurrence, we should dry up the hatchery. Is it true or false? Kapag nagkaroon po ba ng sakit ang ating mga palahian o ang ating mga shrimp, kailangan daw po ba nating i-dry up ang hatchery? Is it true or false? So we still have 5 seconds left to answer. Time's up. So, yan po kaya ang we have 14 true and isa po ang nagsagot ng false and the correct answer is false. Ay, true po. Sorry po. Dapat po nating i-dry up ang hatchery kapag nagkaroon po ng disease sa ating mga palayan or sa shrimp. Dalawa pa pong ginagawa ay either dinodestroy po ang shrimp or dinidisinfect po yung culture tanks, pipes, aerators, and equipment na ginagamit po sa ating hatchery. So, we have to see kung nagbago po ba ang ating leaderboard dahil marami pong nakatama. So far, we have a change in leaderboard. We have JVB gaining 1,802 points, followed by Jesmar Roque and Jay. So, proceeding for our last question for this Mentic quiz break and this webinar for today. What should we secure before transporting from a competent authority? Ano po ba ang sinisecure nating mga documents o pangangailangan bago po nating i-transport ang ating mga broodstock or shrimp mula sa competent authority? Ito po yung hinihingi natin sa kanila. So we have 3 seconds left. Time's up. And the correct answer is yes. Lahat po ay nakatama. So, ang sinisecure po nating mga documents bago po natin ma-transport ang ating mga broodstock ay isa po ay yung health certificate and yung local transport permit po sa mga competent authority. So, ito po ang ating leaderboard. I think of game changer dun kasi maraming nakatama. So, we still have Mr. or Miss JVB as our top scorer, gaining 2,764 points. And congratulations po. Thank you for joining this short Mentic quiz break. And I'm giving back the platform to our host po, Miss Jo and Sir Chester. Thank you po sa pagsali.
Thank you, Brooke. Ayan,
Ayan, thank you, Brooke, for the, yes po, ng pa-quiz ni Brooke. Ayan. So, syempre, ayan, no, ang dami natin talagang natutunan tungkol sa hatchery ng shrimp at saka ng prawns or yung tinatawag nating ulang at yung sa shrimp. So, alam ko na may mga natutunan pa tayo tungkol sa ulang na dapat. Yung ulang is kailangan mako-compare mo siya sa shrimp kasi mas malaki yung ulo niya compare sa shrimp, diba? Tama ba, Miss Jo?
Sabi nila may pagkakaiba din daw sa lasa eh. Saka sa mga segments. Yun. So, pwede nyo po ulit panoorin itong webinar natin after matapos. So, check na lang po lagi yung ating FB page ng Box. So, nandun naman po makikita lahat ng mga nakaraang webinars ng Box. Ayun.
Ayan. So, sa huli, maraming salamat po sa mga nag-stay tuned dito sa aming webinar series number 2 o yung ating title na Miss Jo, nandiyan ka pa.
Ayan, pero hindi pa po tayo nagtatapos dito kasi meron pa po tayong papabalikin pa po natin ulit ang ating resident Menti girl na si Miss Brooklyn Flores para po malaman natin kung ano po ba ang reaksyon ng ating mga tagapakinig dito sa FB comment section or yung mga nakikinig sa atin ngayon dun sa ating FB Live. So, ayan, Brooke, hello po ulit.
Hello po ulit. Ako po yung nagbabalik para po sa ating short satisfaction survey. So, kailangan lang po namin malaman kung ano po ang tinitibok or pinupuso or nararamdaman niyo po after niyo po makinig at makilahok sa aming webinar for today sa ating Strictly Prawnsome Achieving Food Safety and Ensuring Quality in Shrimp and Prawns Production. So for our day 1 po, so kindly proceed po ulit tayo sa penti.com and enter lang po natin yung code na 96702405. And ito na po ang chance para maipabot nyo naman po sa amin kung ano po ang inyong nararamdaman. Ayan. Flash on screen po, kindly click lang po kung ano po ang inyong nararamdaman for this day. Are you very satisfied po ba? Satisfied, neutral, or unsatisfied, or very satisfied po kayo sa mga diniscuss po natin na Philippine National Standards for shrimps and prawns production po. So far we have 4. We started from 9 o'clock and we are finishing before 12 po. So we have 2 topics discussed by Dr. Igia of CIFDEC and Ms. Abigail from before. Both are very informative po yung kanilang mga presentations and discussions. So we have very satisfied, neutral, unsatisfied, very unsatisfied choices. Kung saan pwede nyo pong iselect kung ano ang inyong nararamdaman. So we have 17 participating. So we have 14 na ang kanilang nararamdaman for this webinar ay very satisfied sila. Siguro marami silang nakuhang mga information about sa shrimp and prawn production, and we have 3 satisfied. So far, we have 0 neutral from unsatisfied and very unsatisfied. So, thank you po ulit for joining this short satisfaction survey. It means a lot. So, still have someone choosing po. Ayan. So far, we have 17 very satisfied and 3 satisfied. And thank you po sa pagsagot sa aming satisfaction survey. Antayin na lang po kung yung evaluation form po.
Okay, maraming salamat, Brooke. So, ipinapaalala lang din po namin, no, para po tayo makakuha ng certificate at presentation, maaari po natin saktan ng ating feedback form na ma-access natin sa link na naka-flash po sa ating screen. Ayan. So, don't forget to evaluate po, ha.
Yan. So, sana po ibigay po natin ang ating honest feedback para ma-improve pa po namin ang aming mga susunod na webinars. So, yan. So, dito na po nagtatapos ang day 1 ng ating first day or day 1 ng ating back-to-back webinar. So, see you po bukas, same time, 9 a.m. So, stay tuned po at stay safe po.
Stay safe. Bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you po.
Thanks po.
Kita-kits po ulit bukas.
Maraming salamat po sa mga speakers namin for today.
Malaki ang papel ng aquaculture sector upang maging sapat ang supply ng isda para sa bawat pamilyang Pilipino. Sa taong 2018, ang sektor ay nag-ambag ng 2.3 million metric tons sa kabuuang sektor ng pangisdaan. Ito ay mas mataas ng 2.98% kumpara sa nakaraang taon. Upang mas palaguin pa ang industriya ng aquaculture sa Pilipinas, ang Department of Agriculture sa pamamagitan ng Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources ay pumili ng 5 pangunahing aquaculture commodities na malaki ang potensyal para mas umunlad pa ang industriya. Ang mga ito ay ang bangus, tilapia, hipon, shellfish, at seaweeds. At bilang suporta sa pagbahagi ng teknolohiya ukol sa mga nasabing produkto, ang BFAR sa pamamagitan ng kanilang information unit ay gumawa ng mga techno-videos na madaling sundan para matuto at kumita tayo. Isa ang white shrimp o swahe sa mga pangunahing mga aquatic species na inaalagaan partikular sa mga brackish water fish ponds sa Pilipinas. Ito ay tinuturing na isang high-risk, high-reward species dahil sa maselan at madaling kapitan ng mga sakit ang mga hipon. Ngunit kung ating susundan ang mga tamang pamamaraan ng pag-aalaga nito, malaki ang maaari nating kitain sa pag-aalaga ng hipon. Sa kasalukuyan, malaki ang demand para sa swahe sa ating bansa. At dahil sa mataas na presyo ng farm gate price na ito, ang pag-aalaga ng hipon ay isang negosyo na talaga namang maaari nating pagkakitaan. Kung kayo ay may mga katanungan o nangangailangan ng tulong teknikal, maaari kayong makipag-ugnayan sa National Integrated Fisheries Technology Development Center sa Dagupan, Pangasinan. Maaari din makipag-ugnayan sa pinakamalapit na BFAR Regional Office o Provincial Fisheries Office.
Kwento ng bagong pananaw sa produksyon, malakas ang kooperasyon. Pagtuwang ng mga magsasaka, pamahalaan at pribadong sektor. Dadagdagan ang kaalaman sa kabuhayan. Sa negosyo, pahuhusayin ang kakayahan. Angkop at bagong teknolohiya, subsidyo, pagtubig at infrastruktura. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Masaganang ani, mataas na kita. Maulag na buhay ng mga magsasaka at mga mangingisda. Siguradong pagkain sa buong bansa. Masaganang ani, mataas na kita. Maulag na buhay ng mga magsasaka at mga mangingisda. Siguradong
Malaki ang papel ng aquaculture sector upang maging sapat ang supply ng isda para sa bawat pamilyang Pilipino. Sa taong 2018, ang sektor ay nag-ambag ng 2.3 million metric tons sa kabuuang sektor ng pangisdaan. Ito ay mas mataas ng 2.98% kumpara sa nakaraang taon. Upang mas palaguin pa ang industriya ng aquaculture sa Pilipinas, ang Department of Agriculture sa pamamagitan ng Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources ay pumili ng 5 pangunahing aquaculture commodities na malaki ang potensyal para mas umunlad pa ang industriya. Ang mga ito ay ang bangus, tilapia, hipon, shellfish, at seaweeds. At bilang suporta sa pagbahagi ng teknolohiya ukol sa mga nasabing produkto, ang BFAR sa pamamagitan ng kanilang information unit ay gumawa ng mga techno-videos na madaling sundan para matuto at kumita tayo. Isa ang white shrimp o swahe sa mga pangunahing mga aquatic species na inaalagaan partikular sa mga brackish water fish ponds sa Pilipinas. Ito ay tinuturing na isang high-risk, high-reward species dahil sa maselan at madaling kapitan ng mga sakit ang mga hipon. Ngunit kung ating susundan ang mga tamang pamamaraan ng pag-aalaga nito, malaki ang maaari nating kitain sa pag-aalaga ng hipon. Sa kasalukuyan, malaki ang demand para sa swahe sa ating bansa. At dahil sa mataas na presyo ng farm gate price na ito, ang pag-aalaga ng hipon ay isang negosyo na talaga namang maaari nating pagkakitaan. Kung kayo ay may mga katanungan o nangangailangan ng tulong teknikal, maaari kayong makipag-ugnayan sa National Integrated Fisheries Technology Development Center sa Dagupan, Pangasinan. Maaari din makipag-ugnayan sa pinakamalapit na BFAR Regional Office o Provincial Fisheries Office.